In this tutorial, we will see everything about CTG layers. CTG for Color and Texture Generator. To create a CTG layer, let's click on New button just here and use Color and Texture Layer. Color and Texture Layer are slightly different from Anim Layer. In Anim Layer, we have the choice between all tools available here in the main panel and in the tool panel. When you are using a CTG layer, you have very less options. And that's easy to understand since the CTG layer is not a layer to animate or to draw, it's just a layer for coloring and texturing process. So it's also a little bit different since it has some new icons here, like a palette, a sunglass, and a light bulb. And there's also a place where you can choose the source necessary to fill your animation. By default, I have one source, and this source is defined because I was on this layer when I created the CTG layer. So it takes this layer as a source, and it automatically duplicates its structure. So you can define several sources, and those sources are the layers. Not like, if you remember, if you have watched the previous tutorials, and I was mentioning about the paint bucket and the filled rectangle with the fill inside option just here. With those tools, the source is just what is above or under. There's not a lot of choice. And here with the CTG layer, you really choose the specific layer you need to use for the coloring process. So here I just have one layer, but if you have, for example, if I had a layer, for example, to draw the cheeks and different zones for the lightning zone and the shadow zones, I could select several layers by clicking on these little checkbox. So now let's try to fill this character. So I just make a little stroke like this, and this stroke automatically fills inside the character, inside the lines. If I take another color and another one, you'll notice here the stroke, the little squiggles I've drawn have an influence on the coloring area. I mean, without these little squiggles, here the coloring zone stopped just here, and after drawing this squiggle, up, I have this area a little bigger. Actually, this technology uses a very complex algorithm, and this algorithm is depending on the opacity and the thickness of the lines. So here we have a very big line and here a thin line, so the algorithm knows it has to fill until the big line here and not stopping just here. Why? Because there is another zone to fill, and it knows that, okay, here I have to fill until here, and here I have to fill until this point. The CTG layer is really well done for the coloring process since it doesn't leave any gap between two flood areas. Plus, the CTG layer and especially the little squiggles adapt themselves following the source. I mean, if for example I fill inside my character like this, and I finally noted that the nose is not very well done, I have to redraw this nose. So I'll go back to the anim layer like this. I will erase a little bit the nose. Let's have a bigger like this. So here you'll notice that even if you have a gap, the squiggles still try to fill inside the lines. When the gap is really too big, then it definitely stops. Let's draw a new nose. And the squiggle adapts automatically to the new area to colorize. There are other options in the tool panel when you are on the CTG layer. We have, for example, the possibility to change the size of the squiggle. And this is important since the size of the squiggle have a direct influence on the filled area. I mean, if I draw here a bigger squiggle. This one is more massive than this squiggle, and so this one is the master, and he is the one that will fill the drawing. There is also the exclusion mode. The exclusion mode will define a place where the squiggle should not fill. For example, I don't want to fill inside the eye, so I check here the exclusion mode, and I draw a stroke like this. And here, I don't have any color. I don't have the skin color inside the eye. And then there is also an eraser to erase the squiggles.